Do it some five with 10.
In many ways.
By two, and it'll be 2/5.
Jigsaw is a cooperative learning strategy where each student in a group takes responsibility for one chunk of the content, then teaches it to the other group members. Like the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, students fit their individual chunks together to form a complete body of knowledge. Step 1 is to divide students into groups of 4 to 6 people per group. Jigsaw works best when you have the same number of students in each team, so avoid having some groups of 4, some of 5, and some of 6. For this example, we'll assume you're working with a class of exactly 30 students who can be divided evenly into groups of 6. We'll call these jigsaw groups. Step 2, divide your content into 4 to 6 chunks. It's important to divide the content into the same number of chunks as the number of students in each group. So if you have 6 students per group, break your content into 6 chunks. If you're only going to have 5 students in each group, then you'll only need 5 chunks. Suppose you're a history teacher and you're doing an overview of different types of government. You could divide your content into these chunks: democracy, dictatorship, monarchy, republic, totalitarianism, and theocracy. A chunk of content can be a section of a textbook chapter, a handout containing information, or an online resource. Step 3, assign one chunk of content to each person in the jigsaw group. Each group has one person responsible for one chunk of the content. That person will be expected to teach that chunk to the rest of the group. At this point, students don't really interact with other members of their group. They just read and study their own chunk of content independently. Then their independent study is fortified by the next step. Step 4, have students meet in expert groups. After each student has studied his or her chunk independently, they gather with all the other students who have been assigned to the same chunk. These are called expert groups. Within each expert group, students compare their ideas and work together to prepare some kind of presentation to give to their jigsaw group. During this time, gaps in individual students' knowledge can be filled, misconceptions can be cleared up, and important concepts can be reinforced.
In this activity, I have several teams. Each team becomes an expert on a topic or a type of problem. Team number or table number 3 is going to be, you're going to be experts on question 5 and 6, right? Table number 5, you're going to be experts in question 7 and 8.
And we can do it some five with 10.
In many ways.
By two, and it'll be 2/5.
Step 5, students return to jigsaw groups. Now that students have studied their chunks in their expert groups, they return to their original jigsaw groups, where each student takes a turn presenting their chunk of information. Meanwhile, the other students listen carefully, take notes, and ask lots of questions. Once the first expert has gone, the others take their turns. As each expert teaches their chunk of content, the others in the group are learning it.
And then we switch students around. They form new teams, and in their new teams, they are supposed to explain what they learned in their initial team. So you have 4 minutes to show your team your work. So let's start.
Step 6, assess all students on all the content. The assessment can be a simple quiz to make sure all students got a basic understanding of all the material. Be sure to include all content chunks in this quiz.
I like using jigsaw puzzles, number 1, because it includes a little bit of movement. Also, students are accountable on learning very well a topic, and they feel that they are experts on something. They can explain to others what they learned, and they give them some type of self-confidence on the material.
Do it some five with 10.
In many ways.
By two, and it'll be 2/5.